Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and tonight we are going to see a game between Invincible Extreme and Eternal Sobers. And joining me today we have my co-caster Aero, who is also known by the name Naveen. Since he's a gamer, the name Aero goes first. So yeah, what do you think of the bans for Invincible Extreme?
Well, I think Invincible Extreme have done a good job first banning out the Bristle, knowing that they can't pick first. So let's see.
10 seconds remaining.
They have to.
Alright, it seems as though Eternal Sobers have banned out the Necrophos. The Necrophos being a really good hero versus tanky heroes. Meaning, I assume that Eternal Sobers are going to pick a really tanky lineup.
Yeah, I hope to see a Slada in this game. Like,
yeah,
he's one of the good.
Yeah, Slada is a really good hero, but then we see a pick coming out from Invincible Extreme being the Clockwork, a really good offlaner, a guy who can control team fights with his cogs and his battery assault, and a Disruptor coming out for Eternal Sobers.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, when people think they see a Clockwork, they think that he's gonna play the offlane position, but then you might not know it can be a 4th position or a 5th position Clockwork too. So.
But then, even if it was a 5th position Clockwork, I don't think that they can put him anywhere other than an offlane. Like, his farm priority might be the lowest, but then I don't see himself working in the safe lane versus with a carry. But
Ye-
like I can see it working, but then I don't think that is how people are going to play him in this scene.
Yeah.
I mean that is
That's
2K,
true.
that is 2K
Yeah.
Southeast Asia pub scream. Dude.
I get it,
Yeah.
but still, yeah.
And an
So-
Invoker ban coming out for Eternal Sobers and a Venomancer being picked.
Oh, someone's been saying RTZ play a lot of Veno.
Okay.
So, I guess
So yesterday we had a stream, but the difference was that there was a Venomancer, but the opposite team had a Bristleback. And even though the team with the Bristleback won, the team with the Venomancer put up a really good fight.
yes, the first thing about picking Veno is the Veil abuse. We know the thing that Veil's been buffed in the last patch, so you'll see a lot of early game aggression coming from Team
Eternal Sobers.
Eternal Sober.
Yeah, and then a Darkseid pick being coming off for Invincible Extreme. So, yeah, Darkseer being a really good offlaner for Invincible Extreme. But
Yeah.
but then
See, now you see, now you see.
now that I talk about it, maybe just maybe the Clockwork is going to go full gang, full balls to the walls crazy and gonna
it
go.
should be a roaming Clockwork,
Yeah.
like because they can't put a Darkseer out on roaming or go on a tri lane with the.
So
safe-
having a Darkseer for Invincible Extreme means that it is going to be difficult for Eternal Sobers to pick a really melee-based core.
Yeah. The more
Because
they pick the melee hero carry, there's gonna be this Veno rotating, and once she hits like level 8, she gets the Veil. It's gonna be really hard.
and the Queen of Pain ban comes out for Eternal Sobers. I think that was a ban which is going to determine what they might pick next, because who does not like to go against Queen of Pain in the mid lane? Knowing that you do play a lot of Queen of Pain, I know that you're
Yeah.
going to say no one, but then
Being this patch, I guess OD is one of the heroes who fear going against a QOP with the first spell, as in
yeah, the Shadow Strike deals a lot of damage.
yeah. So the next bans from Invincible Extreme.
Let's see what they're going to ban.
Both the teams have picked.
A really fighting
Yeah.
kind of a lineup. It's
They
not.
both want to show that they want to push the early game. Like, they don't want to play passive. They want to push, get some kills, and get the control over the map.
Well, it's a good thing that they decided to go for that line of fighting, because that would mean that we will be able to see which team is better in a really mechanical skill wise, if the drafts are balanced. But I don't think a draft is ever going to be balanced. That
We
is
see a
the
ban
beauty
on
of
the
Dota.
Ursa.
Radiant team back.
A ban on the Ursa. So
So
I don't know. I don't see the point of banning an Ursa because, like, if you're
we see
going
the
to
Veno. We see
yeah.
the Veno. We think that it's a safe lane Veno. So
or
I
a
don't see
mid
the-
Venomancer. We might not know.
Would be a mid
but then
Venomancer.
but then the ban on the Ursa coming up. I think it's because I don't know. Like maybe they are going to pick some hero like a Sven who can be bursted down easily by an Ursa given a chance. But I don't think that Invincible Extreme are going to go for a ranged core, like a ranged position 1, because a ranged position 1 will be able to carry out an Ursa while
Yeah.
a melee 1 won't be able to.
They could be planning on that. Or
And we are waiting for the 4th ban for Team Eternal Sobers. Well, they are
No.
pushing their overtime, so I guess
So-
they are in a really tricky situation.
I think this is the pick they have to think more on. Like, are they gonna show their mid pick right now before it gets banned? We see-
And a Razor gets banned for Eternal Sobers. A Razor being a really strong hero this patch. Really one-sidedly strong, I think.
yeah, his starter cling just
Shuts down.
it shuts down the
Yeah.
entire mid laner.
Like, it doesn't matter if that's a mid laner or not, but anybody who deals a lot of damage, they are going to suffer if they go up against a Razor.
Exactly.
So I assume that Eternal Sobers want to go for a really auto attack based hero for their position 1, seeing as they are kind of scared against the Razor.
So I feel like I'll see a draw pick on the Dire side.
Yeah, maybe.
I'm hoping for
just,
a draw
just
or
maybe.
revenge.
A draw revenge is that is such a cheese strat, dude.
That
Like-
strat helps you reach 4K. Trust me, you abuse that strat, and you can go all the way. And they have Venomancer who can still push towers with his poison wards. So
Yeah,
They can show the early game aggression really on.
But then, I don't know, man. An Omni-Knight being banned out for Invincible Extreme, I think that Invincible Extreme are going to go for a lineup which consists mostly of stuns. An Omni-Knight is someone who you usually pick for his magic immunity.
Magic immunity, yes.
Yes, and what does magic immunity do other than dealing damage? Like magic only, instead of dealing damage, you could buy a pipe, but then when it stuns, that is what you're most
You
annoyed
can't say
of.
like you're just wasting out your enemy spells once you have the ripple, right?
Yeah.
You bait out the spell, then you repel, then you just push.
So I guess Invincible Extreme might go for a lineup which is going to cast a lot of spells.
So we're gonna see the third pick.
And
It's a Sand King.
Eternal Sobers pick a Sand King. I don't know.
What do you think about the Sand King?
I
Do you
mean,
think-
like, whatever game you play, you need to have a kind of aligned stun ability. Like you either pick a Nyx or you pick a Slardar, even though it's not a line stun, it's an AoE stun and it can stun
Yeah.
more than 2 people at the same time.
Yeah.
A Sand King, which we do know that he is a really strong hero on that aspect where he can disrupt
Yeah, he can.
enemy heroes, and Jakiro being picked up for Invincible Extreme. Jakiro being a really strong pain in the ass for
Yeah. So
all
now-
the heroes in the Radiant team. Eternal Sobers are going to have a really tough time against Jakiro, seeing as how they are all really squishy.
So I guess from the first 3 picks, you can clearly see that both the team have control over any fight. With Clockwork's Cogsin and Jakuyo's stun, and you have the Sand King stun over here, with the
And-
Glimpse. I think it's gonna be a fair fight early game. Like even though they have a Venomancer or
But
around,
we do have to keep it in mind that there are still 2 more picks coming out for
Ooh.
both the teams, and a Viper being
And a
picked up for
Viper.
Eternal Sobers. A Viper who is not a hero who people usually like to play in a really competitive scene.
Yeah, Viper's like a hero.
And Alina comes out for Invincible Extreme. Alina being a really strong mid lane. I do think that he is going to be played in the mid lane, but if
Yeah.
he is going to be played versus a Viper,
He's gonna
not
need
going
some support
Yeah, he's
anyway,
not going to
yeah.
have a really good time. And also, Viper has inbuilt magic immunity, like his spell resistance
Yeah.
increases with his passive
Whenever-
corrosive skin.
corrosive. So yeah, people pick Viper and they know they have to have a support in the lane helping out the Viper because it's like a 50-50 on Viper. Like you pick Viper.
And a ban coming out for Eternal Sobers being the Juggernaut. The Juggernaut, which they seem to be scared of. A Juggernaut can really be a pain in the ass for Viper. Viper needs to hit people, and Juggernaut can just be like, nope, you're not going to hit me. I'm just going to slash you down from all sides, left, right, and middle, and you're going to drop dead. That's the kind of hero Juggernaut is, and that's why they did not want to play against that. And an Enigma being banned for Invincible Extreme. An Enigma being a really good, like one of the best, like, and that is nothing above a black hole.
Yeah.
Like
The black hole can change games.
Yeah.
There's just one black hole. You're
And-
just going like whole bad, and then there's just one black hole that just changed out the entire
Yeah.
game.
So it seems as though the last bans for both teams were not based on disrupting the synergy between the opponent's teams, but merely due to being scared of those heroes particularly. And Alina being picked up for Invincible Extreme, a really good hero, if I might say so myself, but I do not see the synergy between Alina and the other heroes,
Yeah.
since he is a melee hero and a Darkseer, like a Darkseer being a hero who buffs up melee cores, and then a Luna being someone who hits from,
It's a range
Yeah.
hero, yeah.
and a Medusa being picked up for Eternal Sobers. A Medusa, I don't know, he is a shaky
Yeah.
pick. Like, you don't usually pick a Medusa to fight. You pick a Medusa to like turtle up, go to the late
Go to the
game.
late game, and then you see there. So with the draft, I guess Dio have a better tanking capacity than the Radiant for the early game. So let's
Yeah.
see. My money is on Dio. So
Ten seconds remaining.
And with that, we are going to start our game really soon. Please stay tuned in to witness the match between Eternal Sobers and Team Invincible Extremes. And we see that Team Invincible Extreme has invested quite a lot onto their compendiums. And with that, we are going to see each and every one of their heroes. We have the Venomancer being played by Izanagi. We have the Disruptor being played by RPK. We have the Medusa being played by... I don't know how to pronounce that name, to be honest. Like the Sand King being played by Reddick, and the Viper being played by M. And to Invincible Extreme, we have the Lena being played by... That is not a name suitable for work. well, people have eyes. People can see that. The Luna being played by Azzy, the Darkseer being played by Mr. BM, which is what I think, and the Clockwork being played by. Can you do the honors? God.
Stand in God.
Yep, stand in God. Somebody wants to be God. Okay. The Jakiro being played by. Get a lie, bro. Get a lie. And a pause being coming out for Team Invincible Extremes and a disconnect onto the Lena. Well, people do need to fix up their internets so they can win the games, you know? Like, Indian internet is not that predictable as you might think.
It's 2017 and people still having internet issues. Just some
First,
of the things you see.
bro, we are third world countries, bro. Like, first world problems. Those
Happens.
happens.
It just happens.
I mean, like, you hate that. You hate it when it happens, though, right? Like
It
you
happens.
like
when it happens in a ranked game, you know, you're playing, you're like all winning, and then there's just one guy who gets DC,
yeah.
and you just lose the entire game. So.
And the Venomancer having a ward, and it seems as though the Darkseer is going to focus mostly on jungling since he does have an Iron Talon. The Luna is, I don't know, like none of the teams from Invincible.
I don't see a salve on Luna or the support who's gonna come on the lane.
Like
So
the support has, like the Jakiro has a smoke. The Lena having built the standard I am going mid build.
yeah. So now I just noticed that both the team have smokes on them. So it's actually someone they're just looking forward to kill someone. They want to get the early game aggression.
I mean, isn't that why you would pick a Viper and a Clockwork
I know.
and a Jakiro in the same team?
I know.
Like a same game. Like this is going to be a blood. This is going to be a bloodbath.
there's
This
gonna be a
is
big
going to be a big fuckfest, and we are going to be casting this. I need to prepare my throat. Nothing.
it's just one of the
Nothing with
cool
a-
days.
Nothing with a bunch of hidden meaning. Yep. It seems as though the item choices for both the teams are really standard.
And
Like, these are the items which you expect
yeah,
these heroes to go for when you're playing a pub. Like, these are bread and butter items which you build.
it's we hope to see Viper in the mid and Venom in the safe lane. But now that Medusa is there, it's gonna be a Viper safe lane and a Venomancer off lane.
And a Medusa probably in the mid.
Yes.
A Medusa is going to go mid against Alina.
Alina.
I don't know how that might work. Well, he does have the mana shield. The mana shield can mitigate a lot of damage. But then again, the Lina does attack really fast, and I don't know how much the mana shield is going to
Yes,
help
but-
her. But then again, the snake spam. Nobody wants
Exactly,
to go.
yeah.
Nobody wants to go up against a snake spam
That
Medusa,
hits you
right?
hard once you hit like third level of the snake spam.
And good game being called by God, and
Are we done?
I think that was a mistake. That was probably a mistake. We are just going to let that slide, and the Lena has reconnected, and I expect the game to be unpaused whenever. And
there we go.
here we go. We start the game. The Venomancer is going to the off lane. The Medusa probably going to the mid. The Clockwork having placed a ward, scouting out the stacks and the pull timing for the Radiant side.
We see both the teams warding the mid lane, so
I mean, like,
we know what's coming. We're just waiting for the time. Perfect time.
I mean, it's going to be nice, and the bounty being picked up by the Viper. It seems as though the Viper is
It's
going
a
to
tri
be...
lane.
Yeah, it's a tri-lane in the bottom, and it is going to be a dual lane up top. The Venomancer is only going to go up against Aluna, and the Darkseer
And the
is,
Darkseer is staying in the jungle.
going to jungle, but then he will help out the lane, so it is technically going to be a dual lane. The mid lane, the Medusa does have a sentry to scout out any observer what positions, but it doesn't seem like he might be able to catch any one of them. And the Dragon Slave spam comes out from the Lina, and she secures the few last hits and a
The
deny.
bottom lane.
And in the bottom lane, we have the Clockwork
out
trying
the creep
to steal some experience, but eventually being driven out of the lane. But he is going to get 2 creeps as consolation prizes. The Viper, having gone for a really weird skill, leveling up his...
And there's a pause. Oh.
And the Venomancer needs a pause.
I think it's going to be a hard lane for Venom.
And Venomancer gives us the cue to start the game. The Venomancer is going up against a Jakiro and the Luna, both of them who deal a lot of magic damage, and Venomancer is Venomancer is not known for being a really tanky hero. He might get tanky later on in the game, seeing as how people like to play him right now, but then I don't see that happening.
Jakiro already getting the D ward up top.
Yeah.
And
And in the mid lane,
it's a good lane for the Viper, but I think
Yeah.
his
I-
supports
I-
are just leeching too much XP.
yeah, I
from the
don't
lane.
think the Viper needs a lot of help and babysitting down in the bottom lane. I would, like, if I was playing the support,
The
I would
Viper-
rather support the Medusa, and the Clockwork
what-
goes on the Sand King, and the Sand King is taking a lot of damage.
He doesn't
But
have
I
enough
think
mana.
that the Sand King is going to get out of the situation unscathed, and the Clockwork is trying to juke the Disruptor, and he gets a few hits in. And he gets trapped with the Disruptor. The Disruptor might go down, but the Sand King comes there with the Burrow Strike, and it is going to be First Blood taken out by RPK. And yeah. And in the top lane, we have the Venomancer getting a decent amount of experience, but he does not have even one last hit under his belt. He is harassing both of the safe lane heroes. And meanwhile, in the mid lane, it seems as though the Medusa is not having a really good time. The Lina leading the last hits charts with 15 last hits and 5 denies, and the Viper following close behind with 10 last hits and 3 denies.
Venom just can't
The ve-
win the
the-
lane right now.
I mean, he
You
might be
see
able to
it.
win the lane later on when he gets a few levels, but then I don't think right now he has neither time or luxury to get what he wants. And it seems as though the mid lane is getting really aggressive. Like, blood is going to be spilled in some time, and a salve being used for the Medusa, and it's going to be getting cancelled out by Lina's auto attack. And it seems as though Darkseer is one hero which we have not talked about. The Darkseer is stacking and farming all the camps in the bottom Radiant jungle, in the bottom Dire jungle, and it seems as though the Clockwork is also going to get his fair share of experience and lasted, seeing as he farms both the Radiant creeps and the hard camp. And a rotation coming down to the mid lane. The Disruptor seemingly wanting to go for the Lina, but the Lina is a really strong hero who has a lot of AoE. He can just turn around and fight and get a few kills. And in the top lane, we see that the lane has been pushed out by the Venomancer. That is what you would expect of a Venomancer, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it's actually still a hard lane for Venomancer, but I think...
I mean, we see that he is maxing out his wards compared to Venomous Gale. Like, I would max out Venomous Gale because that is a really hard thing to go up against. Like, it deals a lot of damage,
harasses your carry.
it slows a lot, and a bunch of skirmishes being
Jakiro
gone on by...
Getting it the perfect stun.
And it seems as though the Venomancer is going to drop down, and
Top tower
the
is under
Jakiro
attack.
is going to get that kill. The Clockwork seemingly being aggressive. He cogs up the Viper, and the Viper is being assaulted by the battery. And he goes down. The Clockwork
That's a
getting
solo
that
kill on the Viper.
I mean, that is kind of bad for the Viper, but then I don't think that the Viper is a hero who concentrates much on form and experience. He just needs to be in the middle of the fight and deal all the damage that he can. And in the mid lane, we see that the Medusa is not really having a good time. He is really low, and the shrines are going to be back in 5 seconds. I presume that he is going to use the shrine with one of his supports. The disruptor still sticking around in the mid lane, and in the top lane, it seems as though the Luna.
Right now the lanes are actually going bad for the Radiant side.
Yeah,
Medusa is getting.
I mean,
harassed by
Eternals.
Lina.
Yeah, she is going to get harassed. I mean, you don't want to go up against Alina. Like, if it was any other hero in the mid lane, whenever Alina hits level 6, somebody is going to die. A Laguna Blade is not something which you underestimate. But it doesn't seem like the Medusa is going to go down really easily.
We've
and
seen Disruptor rotating mid.
the Disruptor is not going to achieve much, but down in the bottom lane, the Clockwork is getting really low, and he is going to go down to the Sand King Sandstorm, which is a really early point. I would not do that, but then I think what the decision he made right there was quick on his wits, and that might have won him that little fight. And the Disruptor putting pressure on the Lina, but the Lina does not seem to be as pressured as one might think a Lina should be.
She has the bottle.
Yeah, I mean, she has a bottle. She has she has infused raindrops and an Null Talisman in her.
And Disruptor trying his best to get Medusa back into the game.
I mean, Medusa does have a Ring of Facula that is going to help with the snake spam. But I mean, yeah, Lina is topping the net worth charts with 49 last hits. He almost has 3k net worth, and closely followed by the Luna with 2.5k. And the Luna goes for the Eclipse, and he gets the kill on the Venomancer, being ticked down by the Eclipse and a Lucent Beam to end everything else. And the bottom lane, the Disruptor is trying to help the Viper, but he cannot save his dear friend, since the Darkseer and the Clockwork is too much for that flying cucumber to handle. I mean, he does look like a flying cucumber. You can't disagree with that. Tidehunter is a watermelon, and an Invis rune coming out on the Jakiro. The Jakiro is trying to scout out what the team Eternal Sobers are doing, and it doesn't seem like he is going to find much.
There's
the
just
Clockwork,
kills everywhere.
yeah, the Clockwork is rotating into the mid lane. Let's see if they might be able to achieve something. The Battery Assault comes on onto the Medusa, and she's going to get stunned up by the Light Strike Array, and a Laguna Blade to finish off the Stone
Laguna
Maiden.
did almost 0 damage. That was just a level 3. It was a level 3 mana shield.
Yeah, I mean, like, the Medusa is going to die a lot in this game. She is going to die, but then she is going to get her items, because I mean, she needs to get her items. I don't know how he performs, but he will need to get a lot of items to stay healthy in this game. And in the bottom lane, we see that the Viper is not really having the good.
Go for me.
More fuel for my fire.
It seems as though the Viper does not have a lot of things to do in the bottom lane, being pressured by the Darkseer. He is not even taking experience in the bottom lane, since he is being pushed back to his tower by the Darkseer. The Darkseer
has been.
Yeah, I mean,
passive.
he does not even have a Soul Ring. He's directly going for a Guardian Greaves. That is a really good build to fight. And in the top lane, we see
Radiant's
that
top tower has fallen.
the
You see the
Clockwork,
Clockwork
the
TPing.
Clockwork TPing to the bottom lane. The Clockwork,
Wants to make some
the
play.
Clockwork wants to get some few kills. He smells blood, and a Battery Assault coming out, but a glimpse which saves the lives of Eternal Sobers. And the Lina apparently gets back to base. Like, she wants to regroup, and maybe Invincible Extremes decide to take a fight down in the bottom lane.
They know what's up.
Yeah, I mean,
We see the Viper rotating in.
yeah, the Eternal Sobers are aware that
They're gonna go
Invincible
for it.
Extremes are trying to look for kills actively, but then the Disruptor gets caught out by the Cogs, and he goes down. A TP from the Venomancer and the Sand King and the Viper are in the bottom lane, and the Jakiro goes for a stun, but he stops the onslaught of Eternal Sobers, and that is where the fight ends in favor of Invincible Extremes, who get a kill on the Disruptor, but Viper uses his ultimate on the Jakiro and he goes down. The shrine being activated by the Clockwork, little bit of battery assault into Cogs, and the Sand King, he does not have a lot of mana to work with. And he
Now we
gets
see the Lina rotating in.
yeah, but he gets hit by the Venomous Gale and he is going to just stand there and not do anything.
That ward.
I mean, he won't be able to do a lot since he is slowed a lot. And it seems as though if
She has a Regen rune though. They could fight back into it.
they could, but
Do we see
he
smoke?
already used his Laguna Blade. I think it is best for him to get back to farming since the Medusa is pressurizing the mid lane. And we see the Lina and the Jakiro coming back to protect that. And up top we see the Luna getting a lot of farm with almost 5k net worth, but the Lina just trailing behind by 100 gold. And the top net worth for Team Eternal Sobers is the Viper, who has 3.7k. I mean, that is a huge lead that Invincible Extreme has versus Eternal Sobers.
Yes, but I guess like Medusa is still gonna farm more. She gets more once she gets her split shot up to level 4. She's just gonna keep farming. Her farm's gonna go skyrocketing, and
Yeah, but
That's
then
when-
but
once-
then you do see that Eternal Sobers have both a Venomancer and a Viper in the same team. I mean, that is not a combination
three
that a lot of
cores.
people like to play
Exact-
against.
yeah.
But it seems as though Invincible Extreme are making this work. And in the bottom lane, it seems as though the Viper...
Jakiro is rotating to mid.
Yeah, the Jakiro has rotated to the mid
Did
lane,
Disruptor
but
see that?
the Disruptor did see that, I think, and that is why the Jakiro has backed
No.
off. The Disruptor TPs down to the bottom lane. Maybe he knows that there are a bunch of people in the Radiant side of the jungle, and he wants to contest whatever they're doing.
Those words from Dio,
And a
it
smoke
shows that they want to fight.
yeah, and
They
a
just-
smoke comes out from Eternal Sobers, and maybe they're going to plan on taking a
know
fight
that-
in the bottom lane, but I don't think that is a good idea since 4 of Invincible Extreme's heroes are down in the bottom lane and only 2 are in the jungle nearby. And it seems as though the smoke is not going to amount to much since they're just going to trail back to the mid lane. The Lina is left fairly alone against Sand King and such. And in the mid lane we see the Sand King rotating, trying to get a kill on the Lina. The Medusa is just doing her usual thing, spamming her snakes. But it does not seem like Eternal Sobers want to go for this yet, seeing as how there is a double damage on the Lina, and the Medusa is going to get, like, he is trying to fight back, and a Venomous Gale into a Poison Nova comes out from the Venomancer, and it hits on all 3 of the heroes who are present. The Jakiro comes in, uses his stun, and gets stunned in return by the Sand King, and maybe he might go down, maybe not. He is good at running away. That is the right
That's
decision.
just a pure aggression from Venomancer.
I mean, we were pretty sure that the Medusa was going to die. But
Yeah.
the Venomancer comes in, he uses the Poison Gale and the Poison
And
Nova.
then
and,
there's the Stone Gaze, which helped him out.
and
completely.
everybody just runs away. And down in the bottom lane, we see the Luna pushing the tier 2s, but TP's back to the mid lane, seeing as how he has created enough space for his team to farm up everywhere around the map. The Darkseer is still not participated in any of the good fights in the mid lane. He seems to be finishing a bit of his items. Like, he almost has his Guardian Greaves. Like, he has, I think he has completed his mech. And it seems as though Eternal Sobers need to rotate 3 heroes down the mid lane so they can defend the onslaught of Invincible Extremes. But meanwhile, we see that the cores of Invincible Extreme, the Darkseer and the Luna, are getting a lot of farm.
Radiant's top tower is under
Like,
attack.
the Darkseer has been pretty uncontested throughout the game. Like, he has just been roaming around, stacking creeps, using his Ion Shell and farming up jungle really fast.
Viper's still going for.
I mean, the Viper has gone for a 4-star first, which is a good choice since they are going up against a Clockwork and the Cogs.
Yeah,
like
they have the cogs. They
you
have
can
the
escape
ice
from the
path
Cog.
and the Lena stun.
Yeah,
So-
and I assume that the 4-staff is going to be built into a Hurricane Pike, and the Clockwork goes for a casual hood. And he has a blade mail being queued up next, and peculiarly he has tranquil boots in his backpack. I mean I don't know, man. Like I'm not used to playing in this professional scene. Like I don't know what goes on in the players' minds. Maybe that is a honest mistake. Maybe that is a bait.
It's just
We may never know. I mean,
Dota keeps changing.
yeah.
So with the Veil upon Venno, I think next fight should be even more.
Yeah, it's going to be
Tougher
more
for the Dire.
one-sided with in favor of Eternal Sobers. The Lena having like she
Luna-
almost has her Bloodstone. It's just 400 gold away, and the Luna has a Mask of Madness, and she is going for a 4-staff.
Face boots on Luna. Haven't seen that
uh,
lately.
Me neither. I mean, you don't want to build add damage on a hero who is solely stat damage, right?
Exactly.
I mean, you would
And-
want to go for a Manta style on a Luna since, like, Manta style works well with agility heroes, with
Well,
heroes who have a lot of stats. But it seems as though he is going for a lot of add damage, which is peculiar. But I do see its benefits since she does move really fast, and the face boots are going to help her move around a lot
Yeah.
more.
One more we haven't seen any smoke plays coming from either of the team.
Yeah, except for the one which they did in the early game, which was
the-
a total fluke, since they decided, like, I mean, Eternal Sobers couldn't do much about it, and the Ancients being taken out by the Luna, and she has her 4-staff in her stash.
So the Dire just farming right now. Each team.
I mean, we can see that both the teams can just sit back and relax and farm, hit creeps, abuse them, get their money, get their
They
items.
have to realize that there's a Medusa on the Radiant. Like the
Yeah,
longer you
I mean,
drag, it's gonna be harder
I mean,
for
a
you.
Medusa is already hard enough without a hero without a mana burn in the side of Invincible Extreme, and right now they have.
Who'd
I
be
don't
the
know.
apt hero on the Dire to build a diffusal?
I mean, you can build it on a Lena, and you can build it on the Luna also, but then that is not the items which.
effective
Yeah,
as-
I mean, I would rather have a Luna with a BKB and a Manta style instead
Rather
of a
than a
Luna with
diffusal.
a friggin' diffusal. I mean, but then again, diffusal does work well with Manta style, so I don't know.
It's gonna be even harder
Yeah,
to kill a Medusa
and-
without a diffusal.
It seems as though Invincible Extremes are just going to go ahead and chip on the mid lanes tier 1, and they are going to get that.
Radiant's
The
middle tower
Free
has
tower
fallen.
for the Dire.
Yep. The Radiant Tower is going to go down, and Eternal Sobers are not going to do much about that. They think that that is not a fight they should take. And rightly so, since the Venomancer is dead. The Venomancer being the hero
Jakiro
who
is-
deals a lot of damage. The
Viper
Jakiro
gets
throws out
caught.
a stun, but it does not seem like Invincible Extremes are going to press on that opportunity, since they do not see that being as fruitful.
They just want to take the entire
Yeah.
map control first, get
Yeah.
Rosh, then probably go up high ground.
Yeah,
Because they can't
and-
go against a Viper and a Medusa.
I mean,
That's gonna be hard.
It is true. Viper and a Viper being really tanky all on his own,
Is under
but
attack.
I don't know. The Medusa is going to get tanky eventually, but it seems like the
TP
map
comes in
control
from
is
Venom.
going to come out. The TP comes out, a Veil, and a Venomous Gale coming onto the Luna. But she is going to TP away. A stun comes out from Jakiro onto the Venomancer. The Sand King has TP down to the bottom lane. This Disruptor also. The Medusa also comes back to fight. And it seems as though 5 heroes from Eternal Sobers are deciding to fight. A glimpse back onto the Jakiro. He throws out his Macro Pyre. It is going to hit on the Medusa, but it is not going to amount to much since the Medusa is just going to use her snakes and kill off the Jakiro. The Darkseer is also going to go down to Prey M on the Viper, and it seems as though the Medusa is getting awfully low, but the Clockwork has been slowed, and the Medusa is just going to turn around
Meanwhile,
and
Luna
get a
is-
bit and get some kills. And meanwhile, the Luna is playing his own game of Dota with the Dragon Lance being completed. No.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
And a Burrow Strike comes onto the Lina and a Sandstorm. That was a really big magic wand, wasn't that?
The teardrops and the
I mean,
infused raindrops and the magic one coming into play.
yeah.
The Jakiro was really tanky in that fight.
But it seems as though Invincible Extreme, even though they lost a bunch of heroes in that exchange, they got a tier 2 in the top lane. And with that, we see the net worth being swung in favor of Invincible Extreme. With 7,500, they are leading by 7k. Do you think that that is a range of damage which can be repaired?
I don't think that's actually much because they have a Medusa. They didn't have a Medusa and they know 7,500 isn't a big lead. They can get back into the game.
I mean, you can, but if I was playing a game of Dota, I would much rather prefer a fighting draft over leaning back on the late game. You know the pressure which you get during the late game. You have to do your shit. You have to keep your buyback. You're not allowed to throw away your life as much as in the early game. That's why I much rather prefer going for a really fighting based draft. So I don't know, the pressure is surmounting onto Eternal Sobers, and the Medusa seems to be farming up steadily, constantly. She is dying a lot, but she is farming up constantly. And the
We
Luna,
see a smoke on Jakiro.
yeah, and a bunch of forts. The Luna, she has a Hurricane Pike and a Mask of Mana is being completed. The Phase Boots being a really odd item, but it seems as though it has helped him push a lot of lanes. Yeah, I mean 24 add damage is not by any means the low value of damage. 24 damage is a lot, but then I don't know, I would much rather prefer the attack speed and the armor given by the agility stat.
Both the teams have a good, decent lineup to take
and it
Rosh.
seems as though down in the bottom lane, the Darkseer is going to push it out, and the Venomancer TP's back to form that creep wave.
I think it's time for Dire to just get a smoke and get Rosh and push the game.
Yeah, but even though we see that Invincible Extremes have a 9k net worth lead, it doesn't seem like they can't relax themselves around heroes like Venomancer and Viper. They know.
Yeah,
They deal a lot of damage. Like, they don't need to have a lot of items. They don't need to have a lot of farm. They can keep dying throughout the game, and yet when they start to turn back and hit you, you are going to feel a lot of pain.
yeah, you see a Shadow Blade on Luna, so you'll be. I hope to see some solo
The
pick-off
Bloodstone
coming up.
and the Shadow Blade coming out on Lena. She goes invisible.
There's a hook shot.
And a hook shot onto the Sand
The
King,
glimpse.
but the glimpse back, that is going to keep that fight at bay. And it seems as though meanwhile all of this is happening, the Luna is just going ahead and farming up his items. Even though we are going to bank our bets on the Medusa getting her farm, it seems as though the Luna is going to farm way faster than the Medusa. I mean, both
With
of
the
them
Moonglaive
yeah,
and the Phase Boots,
yeah.
obviously. He's gonna have more damage and push out lanes much easier than the Medusa.
Yeah, and it does not seem like the Medusa has the space to go and sit alone in a lane and farm, while the Luna does. The Luna, like, if the Luna starts fighting, if the Luna is going to get ganked by the heroes of Eternal Sobers, we know that TPs are going to be coming out from Invincible Exchange and saving them, and meanwhile, as I speak about that, the Shadow Blade coming on to the Lena, she spots out the Disruptor, maybe she decides to go for that. I don't think so.
That's an arcane rune.
Yeah,
indeed.
she just goes away. Like, it seems as though Eternal Sobers are aware of what is happening. Like, they do spot out the Lena, and I think this is the calm before the storm, Aero.
Yeah.
I think this
See
is going to be a
Sand King getting
Bloodstorm.
covered over there.
And the Viper using his ultimate on Jakiro, and he goes down. The macro player is getting a lot of shit done. And a vacuum wall onto 5 heroes. And it seems as though that is not going to amount to much. Only the Sand King is going to drop from Eternal Sobers, but a stun, a light strike ray coming on to the Medusa is going to delay the fight by quite a lot. It seems as though Lena is not done. She is going for a light strike ray, but she misses. She whiffs and she starts sailing onto the Medusa, and she decides, oh well, I messed up, I'm gonna go walk away. And the Lena, she has a double damage rune, and it seems as though she wants to attempt the Roshan, and the Clockwork coming in to help her. It does not seem like Eternal Sobers are aware of what is going on in the Rosh pit.
So I guess
Yeah, I mean, the Medusa is...
she did survive through the entire fight.
And she has a Maelstrom being a really strong item, and she is going for her Hurricane Pike. She is going to finish that. We see a lot of Hurricane Pikes coming out from both sides. The Lena has one, The Viper has
Yeah,
one.
we see both the teams having good amount of stuns and chain stuns, so
Yeah.
it's a good wise choice from Medusa. And
The only
there we
heroes
see-
who don't build, I mean, let's see. Is the Venomancer building? Is the Venomancer building a Hurricane Pike? I don't think he is. He
He-
has gone for a Glimmer Cape. A Glimmer Cape being a really good item which can initiate a fight, and with its inbuilt magic immunity is going to help him survive a lot of fights, especially versus the Lina and the Darkseer
now with the
combined.
ages on Lina, they should just go for a push.
Yeah, and the Lina goes
I
for
go.
a Shadow Blade and she spots out the Venomancer, but he is just going to pop out his Glimmer Cape and walk back to the safe hands of his tier 3. And it seems as though Invincible Extreme are grouping up for a fight down the mid lane. They are putting a lot of pressure down the mid, and the tier 2 is not really healthy, like it is going to go down. And it goes down and Lina takes the money for that. And here's the thing though, like even though the pressure is going to be coming out from both the teams, it seems as though the Medusa has to be in the fight to counter against the pressure being put
Medusa
down.
has to be up front tanking of the entire fight.
Yeah, but the Luna
Yeah.
does not. The Luna in the top lane. He has gone for, like, he does not give a shit about what his team wants to do. He is just going to keep farming.
They don't want to give out any
Yeah,
vision to the
I
lane.
mean, Eternal Sober said, "Oh well, we are going to go for a Medusa. We are going to gear up for the late game." And the Luna was like, "Bitch, I'm gonna get more items than that. I'm gonna go forward. If you're gonna go aiming for 15 minutes, I'm gonna be aiming for 1 hour."
One.
Yeah, that's the kind of mentality that that the Luna is playing with, and I think
Oh,
that is
that-
good. And a hook
there's
shot
a-
coming on to the Jakiro, a glimpse coming out, but that is not going to save him. And a stun coming out from the Jakiro, which is not going to hit anything. Battery assault from the Clockwork, and he spots out the Sand King, but I don't think that is a fight they can take. And the Disruptor goes down. So does the Venomancer. The Venomancer probably being killed by a bunch of stuns coming out from the Luna and the Lina.
That damage from
yeah.
the poison Mystic Snake,
Mystic Snake.
the level 4
Yeah,
Mystic Snake.
the Mystic Snake. I don't know how to speak, people. I'm sorry. Mystic Snake dealing a lot of damage, and the Venomous Gale. Plus the
Meanwhile,
poison
Sand
maul.
King getting caught atop.
And the
the
Sand
Darkseer
King
and the-
is being gone on by the Clockwork and the Darkseer. He is being surged up, but he is stunned by the battery
Battery
assault,
assault, stopping
and he is going to go down. And Mr. BM on the Clockwork is going to take credit on that kill. The Medusa has completed, I believe, her Hurricane Pike and her Maelstrom, and she is going for Ascari. I have seen a lot of Reddit posts on Manta Style on Medusa, and I have read that Manta Style is not the best item for Medusa. People think that Manta Style plus the split
Yeah.
shot deals a lot of things, but that is not why you build, you want a Medusa in your fight so he can
People
soak up
go
all
for
the damage.
Manta before the Skadi on a Medusa,
Yeah.
and once
And-
they use the Manta, they know that half the mana pool is gone.
Yep.
So
And in the mid lane we see the Darkseer and the Jakiro pushing out on the mid. And it seems as though Invincible Extremes have gone ahead and shown their dominance, and they're permanently camping the Radiant jungle. We see a little bit of a
this is gonna
pressure
be a high ground push.
Yeah, I mean it is going to be a high ground push. The Lina does have her Aegis, but I don't.
With the Lunar Blessing, you see the damage on the tower.
Yeah, and a Burrow Strike comes out onto the Luna, and she just pops her BKB and
She
uses
just
her
goes
Eclipse.
in. Medusa.
But the Medusa is not going to die. The Luna is not going to die either, but it seems like a bad fight for Invincible Extremes, since they do have a Venomancer in their pockets, and once he uses all,
Vacuum
yeah,
Ward.
and he uses the Poison Nova, and it hits on 3 people, so it does not matter if the Venomancer dies, since the team might still be able to salvage that fight, since
the DD on Lina.
yeah, the DD on Lina, but she does have her Aegis, but she is caught out. A static field coming out from the Disruptor and a silence the kinetic field. The Lina uses her Shadow Blade, but that is not going to help her much since she is going to be killed by The Viper glimpses back onto the Jakiro, and the Jakiro goes down.
Radiant's middle barracks
The
is
Venomancer
under
taking the
attack.
kill on that. He actually ticked out to the poison damage which the Venomancer dealt before he died.
This way you see the power of Veil.
Yeah, I
You
mean,
see the Veil and the Poison Nova
I
just
mean,
deals damage over time.
yeah, you don't want to play against
You
a bunch
see
of
a Poison Nova on you and all you think is, oh, I have to TP back.
yeah,
He's
I
gonna
have
die.
to TP back. And dot damage is not something people are really fond of. I mean, if a Huskar
Exactly.
comes in front of your face and throws a bunch of burning spears and burns you slowly to death, you're not
Yeah.
going to be sitting there smiling, knowing that you're going to die. You're probably going to panic and TP back. But it seems as though the fight has died down, and
We see the Radiant pushing
Yeah.
out the lanes. They still yet to get a T1 tower. Oh, they got a T3 tower. Also.
yeah, they have got a tier 1, but they have not pushed any further than that, since Invincible Extremes have shown a lot of potential to turn the fights around, since they do have a lot of tanky heroes. Not tanky per se, like you don't expect a Clockwork to be tanky, but the one who's tanking all those things is the Luna.
He has a pipe on him, so
Yeah, I mean, he
he
has
is
a
gonna be
pipe
tanky
and a
to
blade
some
mail. It seems
extent.
as though the Jakiro and the Clockwork are scouting out the Radiant topside jungle.
who's he gonna
And
hook him?
they spot out the Viper, but it does not seem like they are going to go for that.
He wants to go for that.
Yeah, he wants to go for that. He sees that, but it doesn't seem like nobody else is
gonna go?
around. And he uses... Okay,
Yeah.
that's a battery assault into a bunch of cogs, but the Viper is going to turn around and hit him a bunch of times, and he is just going to TP away. And meanwhile, in the mid
Meanwhile-
lane, the Lina uses her BKB. I don't know for the love of God why, but he is going to whiff a chance at a gank, and well, the Disruptor dies though. I mean, he probably died to the Lina. He
Yeah.
probably did. And a BKB coming out for the Luna, and Skadi being queued up next for him.
I think Dyer just still waiting for the next rush. Probably grab the cheese and then go tank up and take out tower.
We need to gear up for a really long game. I mean, a really long game versus a Medusa is going to be
that's
a
what
pain
you
in the ass.
expect when you see a Medusa on the draft.
Yeah, but then I don't know, man. I don't know. As strong as a Medusa is, I think that Alina around the same stage.
With the Luna blessing, yes.
Yeah, even without the Luna blessing, like Lina deals a lot of right-click damage, and
With the talent.
yeah, and with her talent, if she starts hitting them, like if she builds a diffusal blade, let's just say that if she builds a diffusal blade or a Skadi, she is just going to be able to take a lot of the fights on her own. And she is
Yeah.
fairly tanky even without that. She only has a BKB and a Bloodstone, granting her all that HP. And
got
it
12 Bloodstones.
seems as though Eternal Sobers are not able to venture out of their own base. They are stuck inside that. And that is actually a really bad position. Like, you would have bet on the Medusa, knowing that the Medusa will be able to go farm the jungle if anything goes wrong. But it seems like he might not even be able to do that. Since they are being locked inside of their own base, they will only have to farm the creep wave, which is being pushed by Invincible Extremes.
Luna just checking out Roche.
Yeah, I mean, Invincible Extremes need that push. Like,
They need the cheese and
yeah,
the ages.
yeah, they are probably gonna die once. Like,
Yes.
yeah, they are probably gonna die once because of Venomancer's Poison Nova.
Sun King.
Yeah,
getting
the
out the
Sand
top
King
tier.
is getting the tier 1, and a fortification comes out, buying just a little bit more time, but it seems as though he pops,
Luna.
the Luna pops his BKB, he has a Skadi, and he
They're going
just
for
starts, yeah,
objective gaming.
Radiant
They just want to get the rack.
yeah, but a fortification comes out from
under attack.
Invincible.
glimpse.
Yeah, the glimpse does work, but then the Lina just, I don't know, he runs away. And it seems as though Invincible Extremes come out of the fight unscathed. They do get one barrack, but yeah, they are going to get back to farming. They are gearing up for the late game, more so than Eternal Sobers. And we see,
I feel
yeah,
like
yeah. I mean, you
the
see,
gra-
he has a Lotus Orb. A Lotus Orb being a really fun item to use, even more so than the debuff that it does. Most people buy it before the debuff, but the fun part about a Lotus Orb is the reflective.
yeah, you
factor.
see a Viper Strike and a
Yeah.
Burrow Strike with a glimpse.
Yeah, I mean,
And
That
it was a good
that
item.
is going to be a pain in the ass. You just put that on to the Luna, and they won't be able to do a lot unless they are willing to throw their own
we
bodies.
see
to
the
get that.
Radiants go for smoke.
The
Baiting
Radiants
out
go
the
for a
Venom.
smoke, and it breaks. It is broken by the Jakiro. The Jakiro is going to get glimpsed back. He uses his
He has
stun.
a 4-star.
I mean, he does
Well,
have
this
a
is
4-star, but he ultimately ends up dying since he has been caught out by both Sand King and the Viper. And with that exchange in favor of Eternal Sobers, it seems as though Invincible Extreme are going to be content farming up for the majority of the game, which they have been doing. The Darkseer has a blink on top of the Lotus Orb and the mech. And
We see
Luna,
Medusa
yeah.
almost finishing up Skadi.
yeah,
She's gonna
the
tank
middle,
up even more.
she has her ultimate orbs. No pun intended. Nothing really dirty about that. Please forgive me. The Venomancer is going for an Aghanim Scepter. The Medusa has, like, still has her same items, but I don't think it is going to be too far from her Skadi. Like, once she has her Skadi, she will be able to stand in front and tank a lot of the damage being poured out by
Oh, I didn't see
Invincible
the
Extreme.
Skadi on the Luna.
The Luna has had her Skadi for a long time. Like, she's had it for the past 5 minutes or
There's
so.
a fight coming up.
Yeah, and the Luna
Sand
is
King.
just going to hit the Sand King, and he's going to die. He will not be able to blink out, or he will be able to burst strike, and the Venomancer goes down.
Do they have buyback?
I mean, yeah, the Venomancer does have buyback, and he goes ahead and uses it. The Sand King is dead, though. A reliable amount of stun is going to be not used. And the Medusa is being
Diffuse the
pushed
Medusa.
forward into the fight, but she uses her own Hurricane Pike to get back. But a really good back into wall coming out, but the Medusa's ultimate is going to kill all of those illusions made by the wall. And every spell being committed to pressure Eternal Sobers by Invincible Extreme, but it does not seem like they will be able to do it. The Medusa is going to pop the shrine, and she is ready to fight. And with that in mind, the Luna goes back to farming, and the top lane is going to be pushed by the Lina. The Lina is, yeah, she is going for an Assault Cuirass. An Assault Cuirass being a really good item which reduces a lot of armor, and that attack speed plus his passive is going to be painful at the least for Eternal Sobers. And the Roche being attempted by Invincible Extremes. The Luna is pounding onto the Roche with that Skadi that's slow. He's not going to be able to do much, and the Roche is dropping, and it does not seem like Eternal Sobers are aware that Invincible Extreme are doing this.
This one's with the cheese, so
Yeah.
like
Who do you think is going to get the cheese? I mean, the Aegis, it seems as though the
No
Luna
one's
does
picked
not
up
want
the
to pick
Aegis.
the Aegis. Maybe they
they're
give
just
it to
saving
the
it for
god.
the Lina to come and take it.
I mean, that is awful long to keep an Aegis still there.
She's just taking her time.
Yeah, that just shows how much of a commanding presence that Invincible Extreme has. They know that even though Eternal Sobers are scary, even if they take the fight, they are not scared of losing that Aegis.
It's
at
all on Medusa and how she's gonna tank out the entire fight.
She does have Mjolnir being queued up,
See Luna
and
walking up high ground over there.
she does take a decent amount of damage, not as much as the Luna herself does, but all the heroes are alive for both sides, and this is the calm before the storm. The Lina pushing out top lane, hoping to create some split push pressure to spread out the.
They just want to push in all the lanes before they
Yeah.
go for the.
I mean, to either kill the Luna or the Lina, I'm pretty sure that Eternal Sobers will have to focus more than 3 heroes on that,
Yeah.
killing that one hero. And if those heroes split up, it seems as though the pressure being put on them is twice as much.
I'm just waiting to see a big vacuum into an ice path.
And a pause comes out from the Darkseer, and the Luna is apparently lagging. And
What?
good game playing and good game well played being called out from the Lina, which is also a mistake. That is not. That is probably not intended. I assume. People do put that in chat fields and do them by mistake.
Oh.
And a fight looking to brew in the bottom lane, but it seems like
Radiant's top
Invincible
tower is
Extreme
under
are
attack.
content doing this, playing the split
Look
push
at the
game.
damage from Lina.
Yeah, and that is factoring in the uphill mischance. And a burst strike comes on onto the Lina, but the Lina is not going to be killed that easily. She deals a lot of damage and she is really tanky. The light strike ray coming out, and the Sand King misses his burrow strike and is going to be killed by the Laguna Blade coming out from the Lina. And the Clockwork is going to be killed by the Viper. He deals a decent amount of damage through the Blade Mail, but the Shrine is going to be used, and Team Eternal Sobers are back in fighting condition. It is a fairly even trade, a Clockwork for Sand King. It seems as though Invincible Extremes are in a crossroads of what to do. They don't know how to take that fight, and the Luna is hitting on the Viper, and she uses her cheese, and she has not committed her Eclipse, and she probably will not be able to. But she does have a butterfly in her backpack. And this kinetic field being coming out from the disruptor, but that is not going to catch out the Jakiro. And the Darkseer also putting pressure down the bottom lane. I mean, this is a painful game to watch.
You see the net worth difference. You see the Dire ahead by 25,000 net worth, but still, they are not able to push the high ground. That shows the present, like the power of a Medusa and a
Yeah.
Viper on the Radiant.
The Viper deals a lot of damage despite having any items. Like you can just play a Viper and he can be level 25, have 0 items, and he will deal a lot of damage.
Yes.
Because that is how a Viper is designed in this game. A really balanced hero, if I should say so myself. I was being sarcastic. Please notice
Talk
that.
to the frog. That's what they say.
No. Ice frog, more like ice fraud. Am I right? I'm sorry. I'm bad at jokes. Please don't leave the stream. Please don't.
What is it? What's it gonna be? Are they waiting for another?
I mean,
rush?
this is a stalemate. This is back to being a boring game of Dota, where both of them.
Every minute they waste the Dire, they're just giving free time for the Medusa to prepare herself for the late game, which is gonna be even more harder.
Yeah, and Lina has disconnected. It seems as though Team Invincible Extreme do have their fair share of connectivity issues.
Oh, we cross the 40-minute mark. We see both the runes.
Yep. I mean, I have played my fair share of games in this patch, but I have never really consciously noticed those 2 runes. Like, I don't play around them. Maybe that is the difference between someone who plays for fun like me and someone who plays the game seriously like them.
Either that or
Yeah.
people just
I mean-
watching too much Dota.
Yeah, I mean, people who play seriously try to factor into as many things as possible to make their fight more profitable. And the Lina reconnects, and
We haven't seen a big vacuum from the Dark
we
Seer
have
yet.
seen a big vacuum wall, but it is
it
not helped a
doesn't-
lot because the Medusa will just needs to press her ultimate button, just
And
needs to
that's
press
it.
R, and all the illusions are going to die. I mean, that is a really neat pick, isn't it? The Medusa versus Araxio. I might have to keep that in mind.
I'm gonna spam Medusa.
And in the mid lane, we see a pause coming out from Invincible Extremes as the Lina disconnects again. And it seems as though Lina has reconnected back into the game. maybe they start back their game, and the ghost sign has been given out by the Lina with I don't know what that emoji is called. Is the
It's a poker face.
I mean
Just a modified version of a poker face.
a hipster poker face, if I should say so myself, and the go sign being given, and the game is getting unpaused.
So what do you think is gonna happen now?
I mean, I think that if Invincible Extreme is going to let this go on, I think the Medusa is going to get really fat, and the Viper seemingly spots out the Darkseer, but he can't do much. The Force Staff does not
follow up.
The Force Staff does not stop TP, sadly. And the Venomancer has hit Poison Gale onto.
Illusion.
We see the Luna queuing up for Satanic.
Yeah, I mean the Luna is really fat, man. Like
The Luna is fat.
I mean, I don't see any true.
You know
strike.
who's fatter than her? Medusa.
Like not yet, like not
Yet.
yet. But then, if given the chance, I'm pretty sure that the Medusa has the potential to grow as strong or more strong than
She is.
She
queuing up a
has
rapier.
queued up a Divine Rapier, people. Like, we might see a Divine Rapier into this game, and the Lina disconnects again. I am sorry. And it seems as though the Clockwork stands no shit. He wants to report the Lina on his own team. It seems as though the Lina's, like wherever the Lina is playing from, it is raining really hard. And talking about rains, we are from Chennai, aren't we, Aero? I mean, we have
We
our.
are from Chennai.
Yeah, I mean, we've had our fair share of rains.
In the past year.
Yeah, I mean,
Not this
I mean,
year yet.
I mean, I'm going to take my time to explain the story, but it seems as though Dota does not want me to, since it has resumed a game, and yeah, the Viper is being, I don't know, the Viper is down, and like he is going to try to get initiated upon, but the Venomancer is going to drop down. The stun's coming onto the Viper, and both the Lina and the Luna pop their BKBs and turn around and try to fight. The Luna being glimpsed back, and the Guardian's Greaves keeping Invincible Extremes back into the fight. The Venomous, like, since the Poison Nova is down, it seems as though they can push to the high ground. But they are playing this really safe. They are taking
They know
wards.
that the Venom doesn't have a
Yeah,
buyback yet.
I mean, they have the advantage right now. They are trying to find where the wards are and like replace them with wards of their own. So
Dewarding.
yeah, I mean, that is what that is what
Dewarding and
yeah.
rewarding.
Yeah, I mean, that is what people need to do. Like, once you win a fight, you go to their jungle, you play some wards, you see them again, you go ahead and kill them again. That is what I wish people.
I
in my
guess the
skill
push is
level-
right now. You see
Yeah.
Luna with a DD.
Yeah. The Luna has a DD, and she has a Hurricane Pike, a Butterfly, a BKB, a Mask of Madness, and a Skadi. The face boots to boot.
You see on Luna, you see like
I-
600 damage.
I'm pretty sure the reason for the Luna's success is the face boots, man. And the Butter Strike coming onto the Luna, and she pops her BKB and decides to
And
hit
the
them.
big-
A vacuum wall comes onto the Medusa and the Disruptor, but the Medusa is going to just pop her ulti and turn around and kill all of those illusions. And with that, the Medusa will have to buy back, but the barracks are going to go down.
Top barracks has fallen.
And it seems there is only one full lane of barracks remaining, and the Luna is just going to take the mid lane barracks, and the bottom lane barracks being hit on by the Lina and the Luna, and it seems as though Mega Creeps are going to come out for Invincible Extremes, and Eternal Sobers are... They're helpless, man. I mean, they can hold
do
up.
have a
I mean,
Medusa.
they do have a Medusa, but how long can you like stay
don't
sane?
think there's any
Like, how
chance.
long can you stay sane against a horde of Mega Creeps and a bunch
Right
of
as you
heroes?
see Medusa getting
The
picked
Medusa
off again.
is going to be
GG.
initiated upon, and she is going to die. She does not have a buyback, and GG well played is going to be called by Eternal Sobers, and Invincible Extremes take the game, and they proceed to round 2. This is Siddharth, also known as Old Bear, signing off, and with me is Aero.
Thank you.
And with that, GG, well played people. Stay tuned for more videos from Playtonia, and have a good night.